Hello Sunshine Squad. In today's video we're going to be doing everything you need to know to start your own resin business. I've been getting a lot of questions about my resin items and how I make them and all the stuff that I need, and I decided to turn this into a video because that way you guys get all the information you guys need. And I think it's very important that some of this information is put out there because there's not a lot of videos that kind of explain all the things that really go into resin, and I've had to deal with some of the issues myself, and I don't want you guys to go through that. So I will be sharing as much information as I can. And yeah, and I'm very sorry that I have been so absent for the past month or so. I was just really busy because I started acting classes, and that really consumed my day. I was in acting class from 10:30 to 12, from 1 to 2, from 3 to 4:30, and then sometimes we would have viewing parties from 7, and it would just run to like 10:30 o'clock p.m. Well, can't even speak. And sometimes our schedule would change, and we would have like 10:30 to 2 and like just straight class and stuff like that. So that and handling my orders was a lot for me, but I'm back. Let's start off with what I believe is the most important thing, and that is a PPE mask. I think that's how you call it, or whatever you want to call it, but a mask. Not a regular simple face mask, a mask that's like this, okay? It's so important, and mine actually came with matching goggles. I wear this only like if I have a lot of resin back to back to use, if I'm doing various hours of it, but rarely just because I don't really get it in my eye. But I wear my mask no matter how little or how much resin I work with. When I first started off, I was not wearing a mask or goggles or anything at all, just my gloves. That's the only thing that I had, just because resin is sticky. And after a while, I think like 3 or 4 weeks, as I was doing like bigger resin orders that were lasting hours, I started to get these really bad headaches, and I could barely like breathe at times. It was really hard for me to breathe, and I didn't know why it was. I just thought like my headache was because of my glasses, and then I just thought I was getting sick or something. And it wasn't until like I came across a video on TikTok that talked about this, and I started researching that I found out that it's really important because resin is actually really toxic. And one of my dad's friends told me that it's actually used on the wings of airplanes, and I'm like, wow, this stuff is strong. And that's when I realized that I needed to get a mask, and I got mine for $40 on Amazon. There are cheaper versions. I just recommend that you invest in a very good one, just because it is your health, especially if you're planning to do this for a long period of time. It's super important. About the resin part, because I feel like this is the first thing that I should address, as it is the most important part. I started off using like these small resin bottles. They were normal, and then once I started getting a lot of orders, I invested in this one. I'm sorry if it's like super messy on it. It's got super sticky, and sometimes it would stick to my hair, and it's just stuck to everything. But it was the Incredible Solutions Tabletop Epoxy, crystal clear resin. Epoxy and resin are the same thing. So here, this is literally how much I have left. I literally went through these whole bottles because of how many orders I was getting. And this is a 1-to-1 ratio. It works amazing. It dries super fast, especially if you use a heat gun like I do. And let me tell you, as amazing as that is, that resin that I started off with, very toxic. I mean, like, I would put my heat gun for like 20 seconds on it, and it would just start putting so many fumes. And when I first started using it, I wasn't using a mask, and that's what gave me like my headaches and stuff. Amazing resin. It dries clear. It does sometimes do a yellowing effect over time, but not really, like if you know how to take care of it and do your resin. But it's very toxic. So I switched over to the brand Mr. Crafty, actually about a week or so ago, when sorry, I dropped something, when my resin was running out, and that's what I started to use. The first one that I showed you by Incredible Solutions was $130. This one was just $100. Mr. Crafty resin, epoxy resin for super glossy coating. This is a 1-to-1 ratio, and I checked, and this is non-toxic. However, non-toxic means like it's not as bad as other resins, and it won't do as many fumes. Still need to wear face masks, okay? One thing that I love about this one also is that it doesn't cause yellowing. No matter how long periods of time, there's no yellowing after effect. And this is what they look like. This is a 2-gallon set, so each bottle is 1 gallon. And when you buy it, you get a free product after you spent your money on it. So I totally recommend Miss Dr. Crafty instead of Incredible Solutions. 1,000% would rather invest in it. One, it's more affordable, and two, it is better for your health. But I will say that I've started to use it, and it does take about a whole day to get like dry enough. So if you're like doing quicker orders, that's a little downside to it, but it dries so much better and it looks so much better when done, and I feel like it just gives you a better quality. And you have to make sure you do the ratio exactly how the bottle says, because it can cause it to not end up good at the end. What I do is I have these little mini squeeze bottles that I actually bought. My mom gave me this idea. She was like, you should definitely do this because that way I won't get my bottles dirty like I did with the first ones. And then I just have an A and a B sticker just so that I know like which mix is it. And this is what I use. I'm actually running low. I had to refill these. But yeah, this is how I use this when I'm actually doing my resin. It's just a lot easier to pour than using a big bottle. Start off with mixing. I normally use these 8-ounce measuring cups, and I just like throw them out once I'm done, because when you add the heat gun to these, it does like kind of melt and like deform. So I tend to buy a lot of these, and I got these for a pack of 25 for like $7 on Amazon, which is kind of not a good price to pay. The reason I do is because it does have the measurements on it, which makes my life a lot easier. I'm pretty sure you guys can find cheaper ones if you guys like, but I just use these what work for me. And no matter what, just invest in ones that have the measurement, because it makes your life a lot easier, and it's way better because most resin, well, I think all resin requires a specific ratio, and if you do not follow that ratio, your resin will not end up good and it will not dry. So I use these, and they're plastic. I also use these, and these are like hard plastic, so I can reuse these as many times as I want, and they go up to 500 millimeters. And I just have 2 of these. I normally use these when I'm doing bigger orders that require a lot of resin, just because it makes my life easier. But I also use them like when I'm doing like small amounts, just because it's still pretty good. And when I don't feel like, you know, throwing out cups and stuff, or when I'm gonna use heat repeatedly because it's a lot of resin. This helps because in those cups, the cups kind of melts, and so that kind of doesn't let me to use too much heat on it, so I use those. I also have like other random cups. I normally buy like party cups as well, for like when I just do the mixing and like big things and I need to separate the colors. I don't use my like measurement ones because I don't want to waste them. So yeah. Now for mixing tools, I have a set of different tools that I use. I normally buy wooden sticks just because these are like the best thing. They're not really expensive. You can throw these out, so you don't have to worry about taking resin off of them, and they're really good to mix resin. It just works so much better than any other thing. So I just get a lot of these, and I get different sizes, but I ran out of my bigger ones and I just ordered them. So I have small ones right now, but then I use these 3 tools. I have this big one when I'm mixing like big amounts of resin, like in those big cups, just because it makes my life easier. I love this. The only thing, it's so hard to get like resin off of it. So like resin residue stays on the brush, and sometimes on the brush, and sometimes it gets me like kind of worried that some of the leftover stuff is going to drop into my new resin and kind of ruin the mix, which has happened before. So that's kind of one reason I kind of stay away from this one a lot. I just use them when I'm doing the same design or something like that. The next one is this one, and this one I love. It's plastic, but the resin is so easy to remove and it's super bendable. So I totally recommend this one. I buy these like in bulk in Amazon, and it literally saved my life. And lastly, my favorite ones are these ones. The only problem that I have with these ones is that when the resin gets on this, it's really hard to take off, and sometimes impossible. But on this, the silicone part, it's like amazing and super easy to work with. Plus, I mainly use this for my phone cases. So if you guys are planning on doing phone cases, I recommend this one just because it's super easy to spread it all over the case. Yeah. Next, for like filing tools, I recommend you guys get these to like finish off your resin. Sometimes the resin will come out like this. I will show you guys. If I find the thing, let me see. Okay, yeah, like this, where it has parts that, you know, need to be filed down, and you can't just cut it off or do something. You will need filing tools, and you don't want to use like a regular nail file because it won't work. So I bought these, and they're like metal type of files, and I have a lot. These are just 3 of my favorites, and it's this flat one. We have this kind of squared roundish one, and then this other flat shaped one. It's the one I use the most. Totally recommend these. I got a set of 10 on Amazon for I think like $15, so totally recommend that. Next, if you're planning on doing keychains and stuff like that, or things where you need to add anything, you will need a drill. You can have an electric drill or a hand drill, and I just use this one. I bought like this like silicone set, and it came with like this really tiny drill, and it just wasn't working for me, so I invested this. It was only like I think like $15, sorry, and it came with a lot of different drill tips, I think that's what they're called, and it just works super perfectly. And yeah, totally invest in this. It's not that expensive, so it's not that big of an issue. Now let's talk about molds. You will need molds. You can learn how to make your own with silicone, like they sell like part A, part B, just like they do with resin. You can do that. Build your own, get some items, build your own molds. You can purchase them from AliExpress, Etsy, random websites of small businesses that make their own resin. That make their own silicone molds, Amazon, and I'm trying to think of other places, but I purchased most of my molds from either Etsy or Amazon, and I'll show you guys kind of the different types that I have. First, I have your classic just clear silicone molds. These are the most that I have. I have quite a lot of these. Oh, literally leftover resin. I love to play with this. Okay, anyways, you got your simple silicone mold, clear. That's my favorite ones to use. I just love the aesthetic look of it. It's easier to see kind of my designs without like a color filter, and I just love them. Then we have these that are kind of like either grayish, kind of like this, I don't know how to explain it, but there's like this softer silicone mold. I use this. These are my gun keychain ones. And lastly, you have what most handmade business use, like small businesses use on their molds, and it's like this bluish greenish tint one. I bought this mold for $30 something, almost 40 something with taxes and shipping, and it's because it's like a car mold, and I literally love this. So yeah, I love all these types of molds. They're all good to use. The reason why I stay away from like molds like this is just because sometimes it's kind of hard to see the design with the color background. For me especially, I just don't like it like that, but it's all about preference. There are other like mold materials that people use, but I tend to stay away from that because the easiest type to use is silicone mold when you're dealing with resin. Now let's get into kind of just like the designing part and stuff like that. So first, I recommend you also invest in a heat gun. This is mine, literally. If yours will get so dirty, like mine is so hard to move the button now. I will probably buy a new one soon because it's literally like impossible to use this. And it's a hot air gun. This one is 110/50 HC, 300 watts, 110 voltage, 50 HZ, I don't know what that means, and 300 watts. It's very good. You see resin has gone all over this. I'm gonna buy a new one, but this is my baby. I literally use this all the time. It helps speed up my resin process all the time, or like if I let resin dry, I'll add a little bit of heat and it will kind of soften a bit, enough to give me some time to work on it. Next, this will be your best friend. Rubbing alcohol is perfect. If you let resin drop on the wrong thing, especially when you're doing phone cases, you pour this in a little bit of like a paper towel or something and just wipe it off, and it'll come right off. And also, when you're finishing off your product and cleaning it off after you've cleaned it with soap. A little rubbing alcohol will leave it super shiny. This is really affordable. I'm not sure how much this is. My mom normally just buys it for me, so I wouldn't be able to tell you guys, but I know it's really affordable. So yeah. Next, we need a scale. I totally recommend you guys get a scale, just because if you're going to be putting your items on websites or mailing your items yourself, it's so much better to get a scale so that you can give people the exact amount that it actually weighs and not just do random things, because then you'll end up paying more for shipping, or they might not ship your item because it's the wrong weight. So yeah, just keep that in mind. Next item that I sort of kind of forgot to do with the mixing stuff are pipettes. If you're doing small projects, I recommend you get pipettes, just because they literally help so much to get into the little tiny spots without spilling resin over it, and then you having to deal with things like me when I first was doing it. Like, I had to deal with all that because I had to spill the resin over to get the comb, you know. But I'm telling you guys, you should totally buy my combs. Like, look, they actually work on hair. It's not like a comb for decor only. It actually works. So yeah, invest in pipettes. They're super inexpensive. You can get like over 100 for like $7 on Amazon or eBay, or like small shops as well. Next thing that I kind of skipped over, but it's not necessary because I feel like this is a given, are gloves. I have like over 20 packs of these types of gloves in my closet, just because I run through these boxes like this, just because I say that a lot, just because I change my gloves when I pour my resin. After I pour my resin, if I get my hands too sticky, I change my gloves. When I'm pouring the product, if I use different colors, I change my gloves, just because I don't want anything mixing or ruining. When I'm packaging the product, I use different gloves, like all that, just because I am very sanitary and very careful about my customers. Yeah, let's now get into the fun part, which is design. Buy foil. Foil is your best friend. To start off with, most design people will like are with foil, especially gold foil or rose gold foil. Those are my most sold ones. It's like gold foil. Like, people go crazy for gold foil. Sometimes, most of the time, second will come rose gold, and many people also ask for silver, just not as much. But foil is your best friend. Definitely purchase foil because it will save you, and it will just spice up your design, just like that. Then you need to decide whether you want to use mica powders, which are like powders, or liquid version. I have both. I use powder resin pigment specifically for resin, just because I like to be safe. But you can use like different brands and stuff like that aren't specifically made for resin, as long as it doesn't have like oil, or like, well, not oil, as long as it doesn't have water in the mix, you are okay. Here are like what these look like. I got these from Amazon. This was like I think it was $26 for 18. Here's like a fluorescent color. You know, I got this, like, this is white. I got this mainly because most mica powders or powders that you use have glitter in it, and sometimes people don't want that. Also, if you're trying to do like a watercolor effect, it's pretty hard to do that with powder. So definitely invest in liquids if you're trying to do kind of just different cool like mixy effects. But if you want solid colors or just a little pop here and there, definitely get yourself some mica powders. I literally love these. They come with so many different colors, and some of them like look white, and then they have like this backgroundy color of pink, which like shows in the sun. So I use those a lot, and people literally love that. So definitely, you know, I recommend get both. But when you're starting off, just pick what you feel like you want to start off to take your product pictures with. Then I recommend, when you're starting off, just buy like a big bulk of like these little ones. Like Amazon sells like, you get like 50 like different like little cute little bottle-y things with different like design for nails inside, for like $10-15 or even $8, and literally to start you off works perfect. Or you could get like things like these little ones that come with a little bit more in case you get like double orders at once. So yeah, and if you're doing keychains, make sure you guys get jump rings and eye pins, screw eye pins. and keychain rings because you will need these. I just wanted to put that out there to give you guys the name of them because I know sometimes you might not know the name of them. A lot of people ask me where I get my cases. Honestly, I do not buy my cases online. I used to. When I first started off, I would pay like $10, $12, $7 for clear cases on Amazon. But I realized that that was just such a small, bad investment because I was selling cases a lot and I was just getting put out a little out of my profit. So I went to in person, not near where I live, but near where I used to live. And they're just cell phone stores or like cell phone stands. And I normally used to always buy like my phone cases for my actual phone there. And the guy knows me, so I just went to him. I was like, hey, I have a business. I need a bulk order of phone cases. And he was like, okay, how many do you want? And like depending on how many I order is how he puts the price. So but for me, like now, like I will go and I won't buy bulk orders sometimes. Like I'll just buy like 1 or 2 cases that I'm missing in size, and he will still give it to me for the price that I normally buy them when I buy bulk, because he knows that I always come back, and that's the only person that I buy my phone cases from. Here's one of the ones that I have right now. They look like this, and I try to get them with these little rubbery things in the side. Always, like I always get the ones with those because it's more protective of people's phone, and it's easier so the resin doesn't spill over. So yeah, here's my phone cases. I made this one for myself. It looks a little dull because I have like hold my phone with resin on it, with resin like hands and stuff, so it's kind of like I need to be clean, but it has pictures inside and flowers and my name, my nickname. So you know, I sell these on my website. You can get them with pictures, names, and flowers all on my website. Yeah. Next, I recommend you get business cards. I got mine from Avery, but my cousin told me that she got hers for her like her what's it called for her sweets. Like she does sweet treats like for special occasion or if you want to buy. She got hers from a different, I think it was Vista Print or something like that, or something that starts with a Z, and they did them for so much cheaper than Avery does them. But here's my business card. Oh, it just says Sunshine Glam on it, and then it has thank you and my my pictures of me, and then my Instagram. Totally want to redo mine because I don't like what they look like right now, but I will be doing that once I run out of these. What else is there to tell you guys? I recommend you start off by buying flowers. Buy like dried flowers or learn how to make them for sure, because people ask for those a lot. And I know this isn't really like an important thing or you know, kind of obvious. Get a scrunchie, just a scrunchie that you have around your work area all the time, because do not leave your hair down while you're doing resin. I've done that, and I've literally got resin caught in my hair a couple times, and I had to cut it. I mean, there's ways of you to take it out, but sometimes it's really hard. So I just recommend you get something to tie your hair up. I'm trying to see. Oh, let's go to packaging. I almost forgot about packaging. This is a very long video. I'm very sorry, but I'm trying to just give you guys as much information as I know that you guys will need. But for packaging, if you guys didn't know, the United States Postal Service or like UPS or a couple like other services that I know, but I can't think of the top of my head, give free shipping supplies. So you can start off with like boxes and stuff from USPS. I bought these for priority mail. I like actually didn't need these, but I needed the boxes, and I just got these to test them out and see what they were like. But I got them like for the boxes because sometimes when I get bulk orders, I need to do them in actual priority mail boxes because it's a lot of items and I want them to get there fast. But for my packaging, I actually buy my own bubble mailers. I started off with this color because I couldn't find lavender, but then I found it, and yeah, this is what my bubble mailers look like. These are for smaller orders, and these are for bigger orders. And then I use these drawstring ones that I have different sizes, but I bought these from Amazon, and so this is my packaging. And then I go to like Marshalls or TJ Maxx and stuff, and I buy cute little cards like these to use as thank you cards, and I handwrite all my thank you cards just because I feel like that's just a way to make your customer feel special. So I totally recommend you do that. Right now I'm using these by the La Petite Paris Boston brand. I don't know what that is, or Graphique brand, that's what it says. And these were $4 on sale, literally. Like not even expensive. So totally recommend you do that or order some online. I'm trying to see if I forgot anything. Nope, that is everything, guys. Honestly, I just feel like start off with a couple molds and a small bottle of resin. My first small ones that were like 8 ounces was a 16-ounce that was $34. So, you know, start off with that, a mask, a few little design thing items, and you're set, you know? And that is my everything you need to know to start your own resin business. I've told you guys all the secrets, all the nitty-gritty things you need to know. If you guys have any more questions, DM me on Instagram or comment down below, and I will try to check this video as frequently as possible. But if I don't answer within 3-4 hours, because I'm literally always on my phone, well, not always, but you know, a certain amount of time, just DM me on Instagram because I will see that like that. So yeah, but still, like, leave a comment down below what other types of videos you guys would like me to make for you guys or show you guys and stuff like that, so I can help you. And if you guys want more information on my lip gloss business, let me know, because I also have a lip gloss and lip oil and face stuff business that I haven't been working on recently, and I need to get back to it. Yeah.